Oh, you know what else we got? I'm glad Zach and Mikey bring that up. Before we get to AEW Dynamite, this is going to be...
Okay.
Yep. Let's do it. The PWI Women's 250. Boy. So, this PWI list, I'm sure JD from the Retro Red League podcast will have his thoughts out on this if he hasn't already. I need to check his shows. But I saw this list drop, and James have been talking about this like in different group chats, coming up to it. And I was getting a bad feeling a lot of the year. Like, I don't think that this is going to go that way. And it turned out it did not go that way. When you saw this list, James, what did you make? Should we go through the numbers or the reaction first?
I guess you can go through the reaction first.
Okay. When you saw this thing, what were you thinking?
What do you call it? Disappointed but not surprised. Like, let's keep it a beam. Like, women's wrestling in America this particular year has been the worst it's been in what year you want to go back to? Since the
2014.
So let's say 2016. Let's say 2016.
Okay.
Right? Like, because 2015 was really bad because they brought up like 3 of the horsewomen to the main roster. They still had to do all the nonsense with like the Team Bella thing, right? And that stunk. And you still had 2015. You still had like the end of, like, you had AJ Lee's last match, and you also had Paige at the time wrestling the Bellas, and that wasn't good either. And also around 2015, also the year of like, the Bellas also, Brie Bella was a slave when that was also 2015.
I think that was 14.
14, yeah. 14 going to 15. So like that evaluation period, if you will, the end of 14 going to 15 was awful, right? So you look around. And outside of like Willow Nightingale and a couple Becky Lynch matches, a couple Bianca Belair matches, one notable match between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. What do we have in Major Women's Ambrose? And like, you want to go over to AEW during this evaluation period, is like, you got Sheeta and Jamie Hayter, sure. You ain't got nothing else like that. You also got Jamie hurt. You also have Sheeta I think it's outside the evaluation period, but like her getting the title back and her, her defenses sits in. But it's been few and far between. And like, if you like the characters, whatever, that's one thing. But the criteria for PWI is like quality of opponents, quality of wins, level of activity, diversity of the people you wrestled, right? Win-loss record, of course. And I'm just looking at this stuff, it's like, okay, so women last year, 3 of the top 7, I think, were from Stardom. Stardom has had a down year compared to any other. In the ring, they're still better than they were in 2019. Storyline wise, they're not as strong. Storyline wise is like the weakest year we've ever covered Stardom. However, the comparison point is knockouts, AEW Women's Division, WWE Women's Division, Ring of Honor Women's Division. It's still light years ahead. Is there anything in your mind, Rich, that was better than, like, let's say, Generational Struggle or the Ice Lord or
the cage match,
Saya Kamatani in the cage match with Utami Hayashishita? Anything?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay then. So, okay, just to point that out. So, on a year where Stardom in the evaluation period has their biggest show ever, and also is at worst the second best show of the year in the world. I just thought it was funny. So, like, all right, so and I'm not even gonna get into the obvious like difference in the quality of wrestling, but it's there. It is obvious. You can go to cage match. You can go. Well, Grapple does this anymore. You can go anywhere that races stuff that actually watches both, and you just point it out. Like you look through the evaluation period for Rhea, and it's like, okay, she's had like the cage match sevens, right? This ain't my voting. This is cage match voters, right? And you can see like, okay, Rhea has like 7. She's number 1. She has like 7 sevens, or actually less than that during the evaluation period. What you think the evaluation period is based off of what happened with the men's evaluation period, right? So you see that, and I'm like, okay, Tam or Julia should be 1 and 2 in whatever order you want to put. I don't care. At last I looked, the day it happened, like Julia has. Not from the entire evaluation period, but just from 2013 to like, I don't know, 2/3 of the evaluation period, she has 37s compared to Rhea's like 6 or 7 or whatever else. And Tim has like 35. And I'm talking about this 2/3 of the year, not the whole year, not like the back half, not including like the Grand Prix last year when I could add on another, 7 for each or whatever else. And it's just, I was just like, this is hilarious. Like this isn't like this is like if Okada had won. I think he's won PWI before, right?
Yeah.
And then like WWE was worse the next year. And the gap got even deeper. And they basically said, nah, fuck that, give it Roman. It's just funny to me. It's like this makes no sense. And it's like they love to talk about how they're championship queens, if you will. Like they just love they love throwing anybody on there with a belt that you're supposed to have supposed to give a fuck about apparently, and that makes you whatever. Like they got Camille. Is it Camille? That's her name.
Yeah.
Camille is 8. It was like
she's number 9.
Who the fuck is watching in TNA? Not TNA, but NWA. Billy Corgan's wrestling. And like, what was the last women's match that actually mattered in NWA? Like, and tell me it didn't involve Thunder Rosa.
I was gonna say not since Thunder Rosa was there, right. But yeah. But like for all intents and purposes, comparatively speaking, Rhea Ripley is a manager compared to these people. Like,
right. And so the thing was,
but like, number 1,
I thought about that, and I thought to myself, "Wow, it's really interesting." She got number 1 not because like she wrestled the best competition, had the best match, had the best feuds with other women. She in a panel full of women that got even more women involved and less men out of it. They put her number 1 because she was out here interacting with men.
Amazing.
How fucking backwards is this?
The patriarchy.
Because she's the heater.
The patriarchy. Even the women's self-hatred.
That's why I'm getting like, bro, what is this? I don't understand this at all.
Hey,
whatever.
Yo.
But it's like it'd be one thing if like
we gotta get some dudes in there, man.
It'd be one thing if like Charlotte and Rhea was like the main event of that night of WrestleMania. It wasn't even that last year.
Right. They tried to steal it. They tried to steal it.
Like when Bianca and Sasha were the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania, and like Bianca got it over Utami, even though the gap was just as large. It's like, this is ridiculous. What are we doing? Like, there's nothing that Bianca's ever going to do, and it's not her fault. That's going to be as good as her versus Utami versus Shuri. Never. It's still like, okay, it's the main event of the biggest show in North America or in the world, whatever you want to call it. Fine, I get that. This ain't main event.
Yeah.
This is going 2nd or 3rd from the top.
I think it was 2nd from the top.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
and
let's
like, was it the best women's match of the year?
In America? Probably yeah, it is.
In the world, Rich.
Oh, not in the world, no.
Right. So it's like, so you mean to tell me during this evaluation period, I saw Tam and Julia have 2 matches that are clearly superior to this match with each other.
Saya Kamatani.
One in the Grand Prix final, the other in the biggest show like in women's wrestling in 5 years. Bro, in attendance.
Shuri,
really?
Shuri, all the way down.
No, like the feminism goes out the window when it's America first. Apparently, that was wild.
America first. Amazing.
It was wild.
Mayu Iwatani.
Go ahead.
Mayu Iwatani all the way down at 30. Shuri at 37. I think the biggest, like, obviously the number 1 thing is pretty terrible. Like, I would have probably went with Julia. Got the 5-star Grand Prix, won the big match at the end of the year. Still was in the match at the biggest show of the year.
Rich, they are belt marks. Julia has, during this evaluation period, won the biggest belt in women's wrestling.
Wasn't she a trios champion too?
She's a trios champion, and also she's a strong women's champion. She's had 3 belts during this campaign. Tam was the tag belt champion in Melt here, and was the double champion.
You would
she was
think
the red and white belt champion at the same fucking time.
You would think that would be enough to do it. Also, somebody that
Saya Kamatani like 3rd last year.
I was going to say,
white belt champion. We talking about a red and white belt champion at the same damn time.
James, Saya Kamatani had this same white belt for most of this marking period, and ended up all the way at number 20. James, 20.
She was the white belt champion.
Forgotten.
She was the white belt champion from the beginning of the evaluation period until March 21st or 23rd of this year. How the fuck is she rated in that spot? That makes no sense.
Behind Kyrie.
Rich,
explain this.
Hold on. Let's do this. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. She was a champion for 8 months. She was the IC champion for 8 months, but no, Camille was better. Get the fuck out of here.
Stop this. Stop the cap.
We're talking about the person that was at worst the second best, for my money, the second best women's wrestler in the world last year. With all the defenses, with that Grand Prix run, she had a great match.
Bro, her match with Hazuki earlier this year.
The Hazuki match, the Mina match. The Hazuki match, look, another match that was better than Charlotte and Rhea. Not even fucking close.
Oh, man.
This list somehow was worse than the men's list.
They got Jade at number 14. I don't know. Roxanne Perez at number 15. I don't know, man. I write some letters, y'all. Y'all don't like what y'all see. Write some letters. File official complaints.
The list is so dumb that you can't reason with and expect people to change. Like the gap is too far from reason on this. This was okay. Do I have? I don't have it with me. It's up on the shelf.
We have above Shuri.
No, I was about to pull out Rich.
What?
I was about to pull out. Look, for 1 year we were in power.
You stupid.
They put the Japanese wrestlers on the cover 1 year, and they basically said we are changing the voting block, and we are making sure they are never number one ever. There you go. Yeah. Like we did the right thing one time.
We will never do it again.
Never letting it happen again. This was a white backlash.
Yes. This is
a white woman back. Oh no, Fred Warner got hurt. This was a white woman backlash.
Unbelievable.
This caps off 2023. It really does.
They will take it back.
What's been the motto of the year, Rich? Don't say it. But what's been the motto of the year all year with women's wrestling? When Saraya won that belt in Wembley, coming out with her family, a family full of bigots coming out to Freddie Mercury singing. That was the encapsulation of what women's wrestling in 2023 in America has been.
WWS. But yeah, just comedy all over this list. Like just in other places, like you above Shuri. That's I'm just whatever.
Right.
Kenzie Page above Utami Hayashishita.
Rich. During the evaluation period, Shuri was the champion for like a quarter of the year. The Red Belt champion for a quarter of the year in this evaluation period.
What are we doing?
Put her behind you. Why? Because I don't know.
James, Liv Morgan above Mirai, and Utami. We got, let's see. We have Indy Hartwell ahead of Azumi.
Now, I guess the women's tag team belts mean, or the NXT women's tag team belts mean something. Like
wow.
Never mind, right? Like the Azumi and Starlight Kid Part 2, in the high speed belt thing. Never mind that. Never mind that. We're going to pretend that never happened this year. Another match that also clears and smokes Charlotte versus Rhea. Like this is ridiculous, bro. It's just ridiculous.
Hey man,
Whatever, man.
You know, when I'm making my list, I got to make sure I have Cora Jade in front of Starlight Kid. You know, we got to make sure that happens. You know,
I'll wait for someone in the comments to be like, "Well, look at her skin tone. Is she white?"
Let's see. There's just a lot, man. There's a lot. Takumi Roha, just a token 124 ranking on here.
Yeah. Also, the part where they doubled it up and went to two, I'm sorry, not doubled up, but went to extra 100 and went to the 250 is like, I don't know who exactly you're trying to like impress with this. Like, if you fuck with the list at the top this bad, I don't give a damn what you do at the bottom of it.
Yeah. Oh man, Zekamaki Cora, I'm no black, I'm Dominican, Poppy Jade.
That's funny because I literally
Hazuki did not make the list. Correct. Yes.
Right. I think that was an omission because like
had to be. It had to be an omission.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's also funny that it's like I had mentioned the I know black, I Dominican Poppy thing today because Florida State got a 5-star recruit to reclassify. He was in 2025. He reclassified in 2024, and he was a Miami committed to Florida State, and he's going to show up at like this next semester, right? And he's from South Florida. He goes to Miami Central. His name's Armando Blunt, right? And like, so Kendrick was like, I ain't never met no nigga named Armando, and I was like, look, there are plenty. Like, we had a friend in high school named Vicente. He was like, look, man, for all we know, Vicente's middle name was Armando. so then I go, so I'm like, bro, there's plenty Armandos, Alejandros, and Ricos in Miami, Atlanta, and in New York. They just say, I know black, Poppy. That's all. So don't think they're not black. They just say they're not black. There's a difference.
So we got Taya Valkyrie ahead of Becky Lynch, Hikaru Shida, and Mayu Iwatani, and Suzu Suzuki.
Who?
Taya Valkyrie ahead.
Taya Valkyrie, like what belts did she win during this evaluation period?
None.
To be put up there.
Unless she was a champion in AAA that I didn't know about.
I mean, there's a possibility for that.
But all she did when she came into AEW was like get beat.
By anybody that matter, yeah.
In front of Hikaru Shida, Becky Lynch, Mayu Iwatani, and Suzu Suzuki. When I say
when did Shida win to get her second reign? When was that? When was that was
Dynamite 200? It might have not been in the market period, but like what
month was that? Was that August?
I think so.
That should have just snuck in. So it was only 2 days or whatever else. But either way, it makes no sense, man. It just doesn't.
Yeah, like you know. It's a lot of what James is saying, man. It seems like there are certain agendas by this list. They're ensuring certain people are there and represented in prime positions.
And like, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand the kayfabe wise, WWE still is in AEW or 1 and 2, and everything else is a distant third or whatever else. However, the gap was so overwhelming in the level of storyline, wrestling, and activity that the actual fucking criteria that is like
there are certain years
last year. So what has changed to overcome it this year?
Right.
You shouldn't have set the precedent last year. You fucked up.
Like there are certain years where shit just goes wrong. So like in the history of the PWI 500, I was talking about the men's list. Normally, in a normal year, if you're an active wrestler that's a full-timer, that's a champion, and you win the main event of WrestleMania, that's usually a golden ticket for number one in PWI 500. Right. If you're number one in PWI 500 and you didn't win the WrestleMania main event, there's some funny business going on with the person that should have actually been number one. It's either like a part-timer comes in or they work nowhere close to a full schedule, things like that.
Right.
We had everything break wrong for the women this year more than last year.
Right. And what happened? They said, never mind that. We still don't care.
Fuck them, we ball.
They
said, fuck them, we ball.
We don't like what happened last year.
We will not have that Japanese woman on the front of the magazine again. We will not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So King of the North says, how is Tam Nakano number 5 when she got both top belts in Stardom, wrestled in the IWGP belt at Tokyo Dome? That's kind of what we're saying. Like, Julia and Tam's case are so far ahead of anybody else in the women's wrestling world this year during this evaluation period. It makes no sense. Like, they finished 1-2 in the most prestigious women's wrestling tournament in the world. They both had awesome matches in the Sumo Hall show. They both were in the main event of the biggest drawing women's wrestling show since 2018.
They money ain't green. They money don't be green over there, James.
Apparently not. It makes no sense. And on the road, like they've been awesome all year. They've been disappointed some people when they got the belts at points because based off what their chases were, sure, whatever else. But like, what is a comparison point? Is a comparison point the high level of standard expectation you have for them because they're such great wrestlers, or is it the comparison point of what the fuck did the American women do? Not shit. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's no discussion to be had about this. There's no discussion worth having about this if you're watching this, all of this stuff with like open-mindedness. It's just not.
Zekamaki brings up, he said when they did the unveiling video, they said Mickey James was on there and she just says mommy or whatever. And it was so obvious they gave it to her based off the mommy memes and all that stuff. And, probably like, but it's like, why is
it's Rhea? We both like Rhea. It's just that doesn't like same thing when
that don't move me. Like I don't.
Same thing when Bianca won it 2 years ago. We were like, we love Bianca. She shouldn't win this shit over Shuri. It's ridiculous.
Like that don't move me.
These are not the same level of. Like if the criteria is the criteria, and you're watching this stuff honestly or whatever else, even including the gap of the kayfabery for WWE compared to anywhere else, no.
Yeah, man.
This ain't like some 2018 Charlotte Flair year. This ain't like some 2020 Sasha Banks, 2016 Sasha Banks year. This ain't like some 2020, 21 Io Shirai year. No.
Yeah, this is a lady that is getting a lot of screen time with the male faction on Monday Night Raw, who is wrestling basically in squash matches and having bad matches with other people when they're not squashes. So like, and then one great match with Charlotte.
Yeah, like
there was an error here. And people were like, so what? Do you see the screen time she gets and how big of a star she is? And I'm like, all right, man, is this like
I get that the criteria is the criteria. Like change the criteria. I won't yell at you for ignoring your own criteria. I won't criticize you for literally ignoring your own criteria. Change the criteria to most over women and most over stuff for women's wrestling involving women's wrestlers throughout the world, and the kayfabe is WWE at number one, AEW number 2. You don't give a fuck about anything else outside of that. We'll put you wherever we put you.
Look, and we saw her win that Royal Rumble, that completely unimpressive Royal Rumble. Like
that's the second best accolade to her for her being number 1.
Yeah.
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 She won a Rumble. She won a title match. In a great match. An overrated match, but a great match. Cool.
What else you got?
I think she should be like, I think she should have been number 3.
Like I think you can put her anywhere in the top
mark, so I would have put her number 3. It's fine.
Anywhere from 3 to 5 is fine to me.
No, not even close.
Yeah, like, and that Athena just gets a random number 6 ranking. And
that's another thing. Think about how much better Athena has been in Ring of Honor than Rhea has been in the evaluation period. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Where did they put Willow on this thing?
Number 8.
That's where she should be. As someone that wasn't really a champion for long, she got that strong women's title for a short period of time. She had to get in. She dropped it quickly off to Julia. Cool.
Yeah. It's it's real interesting how these things get made.
Also goofy where they put Becky Lynch, given it
29.
She's like the best women's wrestler they got in WWE this year or during this evaluation period.
29.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I think something stinks. Like when you start thinking about these lists, and you know,
imagine doing this thing about WWE matters so much and all this kind of shit, and at the end of it, you put Rhea Ripley at number 1, but you put Becky Lynch like 20 people behind Camille. Are you fucking out of your mind? What are y'all? What is going on in this vote tabulation to make y'all do all this stuff?
It's like they need to.
It makes no sense comparatively speaking in what you're in the mindset and the logic, internal logic of its own thing. It's bringing its own internal logic every 5 picks.
Like exactly. It's like they need to hire someone after they finish the list to like go through it like we do and be like, yo, do you realize you have this person in front of this person? This makes absolutely no sense.
Right. So. And obviously, it's not a big committee, so a lot of people are like, it's going to be a lot of like people getting non-votes or whatever else, so they drop like stones or whatever. They end up in these goofy, dopey placements.
Yeah.
But it's like, we talked about it. This was worse than the men's version this year, and like this men's version did one of those things where like, oh yeah, we forgot it. We forgot a Japanese wrestler. We forgot to put Naito on the list.
Look, and we kind of talked earlier about certain media, and it's like, I don't think you would forget, like, you wouldn't leave Kevin Owens off the list.
A Tokyo Dome, or a Tokyo Dome equivalent building and house in America.
Yeah.
It would never have happened.
Man, so some of this stuff stinks, man, and y'all gonna figure it out. There's some stuff where I'm kind of, y'all can